He's been locked up, shot, and now stabbed. If the first 3 episodes have told us anything about Colter Shaw, then it's a very dangerous job being a rewardist. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment, and here today I'm going to be reviewing Tracker Season 1, Episode 3. This one is called Springland, and you guess it, Colter Shaw finds himself going to Springland. And what I really enjoy about this show is the different locations that we get to see, and they all look great. So far we've been in 3 different locations and they're all beautiful looking in the background, and it's nice that we get to see various towns, various cities, and we're not stuck in the same place every single episode. So I do enjoy that. Colter finds himself passing through Springland. He doesn't intend to stay here, he's just getting breakfast, but he comes across a woman that's been bullied in this car park of a diner. He goes out to help her. Turns out she's handing out flyers for her missing sister. He ends up disarming the guy who was coming at him with a knife, but he does take a stab in the process. Then he goes to the hospital to get stitched up, and he asks some questions about this person, Kira, and the fact she's looking for her missing sister. Now, he did have a job set up, and he was trying to find a missing car, which was a lot higher reward than what Kira is offering for any information and somebody to find her sister. So this tells you that Colter Shaw isn't necessarily in it for the money. You know, sometimes he'll take a case that maybe doesn't pay as much, but it's personal to him, or he wants to help somebody that he feels is a good person. Or here, maybe he just likes women, because we know so far he is a woman's man, and he does end up speaking to Kira. He helps Kira. Her sister Maya was a bit of a traveller. She would go from place to place, but Kira hasn't heard from her in a long time, and Colter then decides to basically search this small town, look for answers. He goes to people that are high up in the town. He goes to the police officers, but no one has any information on Maya. Everyone says the same thing, that she's a bit of a drifter, and that she probably just drifted away. She's on her travels. So he keeps looking, and he comes across this rich family. Turns out Maya was in a relationship with the son, who was called Gecko. He starts pressuring Gecko for information, but of course Gecko's rich family don't like this, and they threaten Colter to either stay away. They tell him to move on before he gets moved on, essentially. Colter, though, obviously doesn't take well to threats, so he goes on to the property of Gecko's parents, and he finds some cameras. After contacting Bobby manages to get some footage from the cameras, and they find Maya's fan. The fan went into the land, but she didn't come back out driving it. So again, Colter gets back in contact with Kira. He tells her that he thinks he knows where her sister is. They go to the land, they check it out, they find Maya's fan, but before they can do anything about it, they get shot at. Someone's shooting at them from the distance. They have to escape from the property. They bring the police officer back, but of course the fan is missing, and obviously this paints Gecko and his parents in a really guilty light, because they've got rid of the evidence. What are they trying to hide? Colter goes back to his trailer, but the trailer door is open, so he assumes the worst, probably that the Gecko family have sent some of their henchmen to try and take Colter out. He goes inside with his gun, but it turns out Renee is back, and she is tracked down. She has tracked down the tracker, and she knew where he kept the key. Apparently, he's kept the key in the same place for the past 3 years. And I like Renee. She's probably my favourite character in the show outside of Colter. I really like the chemistry, the dynamic between the two. I mean, it's quite clear that they should just hook up and be together, although they have sort of alluded to the fact that they may have been an item in the past. I don't know if they will revisit that. I'm not too sure, but Renee looks at all the information that Colter has gathered here, and she's very impressed that in the space of like 2 days, he has gathered up enough information that some people wouldn't get over a few months. And she helps him as Colter has found pictures of Maya and Gecko together, and he manages to realise that they were in a relationship. He thinks that Gecko had something to do with it, but Gecko then tells him the truth after Colter says you can keep on running, you can keep on hiding behind your parents, but that's not going to help your guilt. And Gecko reveals that he and Maya were in love, they were in a relationship, but his parents didn't approve because of who Maya was and her lifestyle, and the fact that she was like kind of a bit of a hippie. and that she did drift around, so they pretty much forced her to leave as far as he's concerned. But Colter obviously doesn't buy that, so Colter, Renee, and Gecko go up to his parents' land, his parents' property, where Colter tries to get a confession out of Gecko's dad. Gecko's dad sends his best man, his like number one henchman, onto Colter, but Colter disarms him pretty easily. And then Colter wants to know with Gecko's dad, what did you do with Maya? But Gecko's dad is telling him the truth, that he paid her to leave. He told her, basically forced her out of the town. And Colter somehow manages to realise that he's telling the truth, but his mother is not. And it turns out that Gecko's mother is actually the one that killed Maya because she didn't approve of her and the relationship that Maya had with her son. However, what happened here was pretty strange, and this is what I don't really like about Tracker. We just skip. So Colter confirms that he can tell that Gecko's mother is lying about the disappearance of Maya. They then allude to the fact that it was Gecko's mother that killed Maya, and then we just randomly go to the next day. The scene just changes. It's the next day. Colter visits Kira and he tells her the truth about what happened to Maya. He gives her the closure that she needs about her sister, and that is it. I mean, we went from a showdown. We went from Colter, Renee, and Gecko standing, confronting his parents, where we just find out the truth about Maya, and as soon as we do, the scene just cuts to the next day with the formatting of this show. So every episode seems to have its little side mission, its side story, each reward that Colter tries to take on, and the main plot for season 1 seems to be his brother, and the fact that his brother, it looks like, killed his father. He's trying to get back in touch with Colter, but every episode we see a new little mission, so to speak, that Colter takes on, but it's not giving us enough time to really tell and flesh out these stories. So far there's been a pattern in the first 3 episodes. At the beginning, we'll have Colter. He will obviously accept the job. He will meet with the people offering the reward, find out information. Then the middle of the episode is him trying to track down the missing person that he's looking for. He will get into some confrontations with some bad guys. He will find out information. And then at the very end, we'll get the conclusion. But what I've noticed is the conclusion is pretty much wrapped up within maybe a 3-4 minute scene. And I just don't think it's long enough. Personally, like, I would have each little, call it what you want, mission or story or case that Colter is taking up. I don't think each case has to necessarily last just 1 episode. I would have no problem with maybe a case lasting 2 episodes, or if it's a big case, an important case, then have it maybe last 3 or 4. At the moment, like I said, we're just getting the beginning. He accepts the case. The middle, he finds out information. And then at the end, he concludes the case. And we get like a little bit of the main story with his brother, maybe filtered and sprinkled in throughout. So, like, I like the show, but I think the pacing here was very strange. At the end, we're just about to find out what happened to Maya. We're about to find out the truth. Why did Gecko's mother kill her? What's going to be happening to her? Like, what's going to be her punishment? Is she going to get arrested? Or the Gecko family going to be able to pay off the local sheriffs? Because it seems like they had them on their payroll. Everyone was afraid of them. We don't find out what happened. And for me, that is a bit of a problem. I liked the episode. I liked it more than episode 2, but the conclusion to this case, it did let the episode down for me big time. Therefore, I can only give it, I'm going to give it, well, first before I give my rating, Colter also speaks with Renee. Renee says that she's had a phone call from someone that is looking to get in contact with Colter, but it turns out it's his brother. He tells her to block it. She wants to know more information, and then he drops a bombshell that his brother killed his father. But we've yet to see any proof if it was his brother Russell that killed his father, and I personally think we've seen maybe a hint or two that it might not have been Russell, and I think it would be a bit too obvious to be Russell as well. So maybe they're going to swerve us, and the death of Colter's father is actually not going to be at the hands of his brother. But I do look forward to that story being played out more in future episodes. I'd kind of like them to focus a little bit more on that, and maybe the next episode not be a certain case related, or like I said, if they want to have one case, they could maybe spread it out over a couple of episodes, and therefore they can focus more heavily on the main story, which is of course Colter and his brother. So yeah, like I said, so far the show's been pretty good, but the conclusion to this episode and the final showdown really with the Gecko's parents just abruptly ended. I do like the show, I do think it's good, but at times the stories, the conclusions of each case do feel a little bit rushed, because we're only getting a 40-minute episode and they just refuse to have cases carry on to the next. So therefore I'm going to have to factor that in a little bit in my rating, and I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Like I said, decent episode. I actually preferred it to episode 2, but because of how quickly the conclusion to the story in this case was rushed, with Maya and Gecko's mother being the one to kill her, I'm going to have to take like a point off the rating. So yeah guys, 6 out of 10. I will catch you in the next Tracker review. Also going to look at the promo for episode 4. I will do a reaction to that, and I put a few polls up as well for Tracker, and yeah, we're going to respond to them soon. So check out the channel for more Tracker, and of course if you're into other stuff, there's lots of content right now, especially The Walking Dead. That has just started, The Ones Who Live, the new Rick Grimes show. You can check that out on the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. So leave a like, check out all the content, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, peace.